Alright. Thank you, Twitch. I should actually wait a little bit longer. Because it went to ding. And this new mic actually picks up a lot more stuff than I thought. Well, yes, thank you all for coming out. They're not coming out. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Let's get underway. I'm saying the wrong things. Go for a little bit today, and then we'll see. There we go. There I am. There's I. Before we unpause, we got a couple things we gotta do. First off, 36 is leaving. I think it literally just started its transfer. So it's going back to repair, which means we have a chance to rebuild an Earth station with some science in interface orbit, which would be very nice. Low Earth orbit, interface. Take me there so we can actually go and build it. I'm aware for the moment that that will not power that, but that's fine. That will power. So I'll power both of these. And then a little bit of science. Military? We do need military tech. Quite badly. Don't worry, we're gonna fix that. In fact, one fusion reactor array will be able to fix what we're planning to put here. And that won't have enough power then, so we have a spare slot for tier 3, or we just put redundancy for power. Redundancy for power. Extra power is always fine. Could actually build another one, just same design. What is that? 4-layer defense arrays? Yeah, 4-layer defense arrays. All that can kind of mutually support each other with PD defense, with a little bit of stations, because each of these is under 40 science points, which is not nothing, but it is also 40% bonus to military tech, which is more important. Question is, are they going to get done in time before something comes and blows them up? Considering we now have to, well, check to see what things are for shipbuilding. Alright, we got one more Yorktown Sea, which is actually almost done. So I can come down and just sit on this station to defend it. And then, how much Delta V these guys have? 30. They could transfer to Earth. Form up fully. Transfer to Earth. Just to defend. Actually, we need to refit or redesign ship classes. We need to update the Triumph and just a lively. Let's get that updated, hopefully. Oh, hopefully it's a valid update where it's nice and quick. Oh, yeah, hull weapons. We want the arc laser point defense. That's a valid refit. What's the difference in combat power? Same combat power, except it has better point defense. By a fair margin. Well, it should be a fair margin. It should maintain its good characteristics. I mean, it does have a good heat sink, lithium heat sink, not a massive amount, but considering what we're going to be using this for, I mean, I wish it was a little bit quicker, but it will do. It will do. Because a pack of 3 of these, or 4 of these around Mercury, should be able to deal with the 3 ships around Mercury, because we can't really put any super efficient nanofactories or op centers around Mercury right now, because they just get blown up. So this is the Endurance Interceptor. Nice update, 6,000 tons. This is probably actually the best ship I've designed, is these destroyers. Straight up, these are probably the best ones I've designed. Actually, go with drives, take a look. I mean, we can't get the fusion spinner, and we also can't get the Orions. So, advanced pulsar is probably the best we got for this, which is fair, considering it's better than the pulsar for sure. It's nowhere near as good as the Dumbos, but the Dumbos for thrust, but the Dumbos are also terrible efficiency. They're basically a Nerva drive with more thrust. Nervas aren't the best drive. Like I said, it's suitable for interplanetary journeys. This is not suitable for interplanetary. At 8 kilometers per second, not unless you're putting massive fuel tanks on the thing. Like the Dumbo is better. Then the heavy Dumbo is the same as a Dumbo. It's actually worse than a Dumbo, and the same as a Nerva. But it's 3 million newtons of thrust. So it's a wee bit more. But nope. I think the Pulsar will do, Advanced Pulsar will do just fine. 32 kilometers per second. Still not as good as an Orion. But that, I don't think, would be a valid refit. Also, I mean, it would be funny to send this thing flying along at... I mean, it's 1800 per, we got 6, that's... 500,000 newtons? That's 16 million newtons? I mean, it's not super efficient. It's a little bit better than the... Yeah, it's better than the demos, but it's not great. Actually. Why do you not want to go in? Oh, the Hydron Trap. That's why it is, the Hydron Trap. Let's just see what happens if I go and slap. It's actually not super terrible, and let's see. 85%, 8 tons, 88 for 3 tons. And then we could put something else here. That's dropped a little bit of range, but it's up to 1.7 G's combat acceleration for less weight. Like, we could very easily get this up to 30 again. Yeah, 30. We get even 40 tanks, 32 kilometers per second. Still over 1 G combat acceleration. Takes 120 fizzles per, which isn't great considering we need to save fizzles. But I'm very tempted because this combat acceleration will be very useful. And it'll also be very quick to just basically jump on these things before they run. So no refit for Destroyer class, but... Also, we need a utility module in there. We could go for laser engine. I don't know if this laser weapons do more damage at longer range. I don't know if that counts for point defense. I'm going to assume it does. So put a laser engine in there. Yes, this will work, I believe. Don't have space for any of these. Because I was either going Destroyer or a Cruiser. And I think Destroyer. Because these aren't super expensive for cash. They take almost no MC, so I can spend more MC, building more MC places, especially once they're blown up. And these things have enough, actually have enough acceleration in combat to actually, move in combat, versus our past ships, which haven't been able to really move in combat. Yeah, let's save this. This should work. I mean, for its job of clearing up Mercury orbit, or at least defending it. For which is going to be it's basically going to be its whole job, is defend Mercury orbit. So where is... There's Mercury, low Mercury. Three or four. Things we don't want to take too long. And we do have more ships on the way for Earth. / Mars, which can transport to Earth. So I think 3 will do, because it has 167. And we don't want to go too high, lest they go and decide to just run. But yeah, let's lay down 3 of these, because I need to catch these. And these are no point defense. these are both no point defense, and that has 1 point defense. So it's 1 point defense weapon on the whole fleet. Versus 6 point defense weapons. Which hopefully we'll be able to deal with that. Hopefully. That's my hope. Especially considering they have longer range. But yeah, I'm worried about this. Considering I don't think there's anything in Earth orbit. I just had a screen up. I should have stayed there. You are transferring to Earth. You are 2 ships. You're 2 corvettes. So it's more of the same. I'll only have 1 ship in Earth orbit. You're coming in, but you're a transport. So you're going to come in and you're probably going to crash. So I don't need to worry about you. 11 September. We might be able to get there with the Dreadnought. We have 7 days out. But other than that, it's not a guarantee. So this station may have just been a whole bunch of resources gone. But we'll see. Hopefully not. But again, I mean, we can't control that until we actually get enough speed to prevent and firepower to, prevent.
Offering assistance.
Although the new generation of ships, once a fully proper generation, are going to have much more armor. 127-meter green arc laser battery. I mean, we're getting the UV light, so that's fine. Also, since it's been a little bit, goes as a category. I want to see the... That's medium, super heavy. We could actually go straight to super heavy. That's the 4 nose. That's a 3-slot hardpoint. Just start go away from rails to lasers. Considering that means they all attack Guardian, and this is a lot more damage. Plus, that's a hull 4-slot. It's not as much as the nose. That's the that. So that's 17.5. Medium arc is 2-slot. 7.5, 10%, 700-kilometer range in Guardian mode. 20-second reload. Versus 600 kilometers, 20-second reload. It is a little bit better armor penetration, or armor negation. A little bit better, but I mean, it is half at 100, and I think not quite half at 200. It's 41 versus... It is actually almost half at 200. Is it half again at 500? It is half again at 500. I'm actually... Because this is... It's not quite the same damage as 2 UV laser arcs. But it is double the armor effectiveness with longer range for point defense mode. What's the research cost? Check that. 2250 versus 1500, and we already got 1,000 in. It's fast to get this done, but for the future, we might actually go with like a giant laser on the nose. Not on the nose, obviously, but also as a battery. And then have arc point defense lasers as, whatchamacallit? Point defense. Don't show obsolete, please, thank you. But yeah, we just gotta let research run. Also, exotic armor is coming along eventually. Next year. Actually, start of next year, basically. Same thing with assault this reactor, and then it made this laser battery. So that's when we're gonna get real looking at designing ships. Well, actually, no. We need the engine first. 114 is in low series orbit. Oh yes, you were moving here. This is where our base is. That they've somehow, up until probably this point, allowed us to keep. Which, well, I think we're gonna have put up a good fight here, considering this 3K combat power at this base. Considering this base has 6-point defense arrays, each of which have 2 large surface to orbit ultraviolet arc laser cannons. So, as the old adage goes, come have a go if you think you're hard enough. I don't think you are. Considering we can put a little bit more power into these compared to what you can put on a ship, because it doesn't have to move. Also, something I just noticed just to start. There's some games going on in Russia. Humanity First, Exodus now control half of the 2 control points in Russia versus in the academies in 1. So there's been some swapping going on in Russia. So games are afoot there. You're investigating. India should be fine. Bangladesh has nobody, but then again, no claims to join Bangladesh into anywhere. We're boosting here, but then again, we need this navy to be done in Malaysia before we can actually do anything with the Philippines and all that and start growing it. Still good to just have it. That way we can, do our best to boost stuff like spaceflight program into mission control. Because actually, no, boost would be. These countries are better for boost, but of course we don't need boost here. Military. We just want to finish off that. That's almost done. Then that should fold up into the rest. And then you're running spaceflight as well. And then you'll just run into build mission control. You're going pretty hard mission control, which we do need, because we do need more mission control. And the Panasian Combine is a lot of mission control not actually even tapped to start yet. So we're just building navies for the armies we already have, just that they're done out the way. We're putting space defenses everywhere we can, but we're prioritizing military for peace and also then welfare to get this inequality down. Economy is a little bit going on, but a little bit unity just to keep public opinion easier with us, and then knowledge to bring up the education as well as bringing up the government score. And then America, which is just a mess after what the servants did. Infrared arc laser cannon. I mean, that's literally not as... I mean, infrared is better than... green is... I believe it goes infrared, green, ultraviolet. So that's like the lowest tier nose cannon we could get for arc. So since we have access to ultraviolets and all that, why not just skip that and go ultraviolet? You see, there it is, green arc laser cannon. That's a heavy. That's a 3 slot. There's your turn. Go. I don't know if that's a prophetic name or a very, very unlucky name. Gallipoli. That's either a really good sign for us, or this ship is doomed. It's one of those 2 options. And of course, she's a C, so she's not quite as good point defense as a D would be. Transfer. You don't need to rush to transfer. Actually, you should probably still rush just to get there before something tries to intercept you. Somewhere from somehow. But yeah, get down to the De Ruyter. Because if all else... Deuter is like a last type of action. It is better defended. It has basically trades a shipyard for a layer defense. Like this is 610. Point defense arc, 1600 ultraviolet laser battery, which will get updated to the arc when that gets done. Still using railgun battery Mark III, which is I should probably have to pick up coils at some point. But yeah, you're transferring down. Construction should have started on the destroyers around Mercury. Yeah, they're going 8th of December, so they're going slowly. The Twilight Blade. The Twilight Blade's slowing them down. She's probably lost her engines or badly damaged her engine. Considering that's roughly where most of the damage is to her aft section. So she probably has weakened you know what I'm talking about. More damage there. So that's slowing them down to under 1 milli-G, which is actually, honestly, Victor 119. That's gonna arrive in July. That's Dreadnought, standoff class Dreadnought. That's probably a ton of missiles. I might have to send a Gallipoli against this alone. In fact, I think I see missile launchers there. I think. Because it depends. Where is this even going? Docked at Echelon Station. It's transferring to Earth. Low of orbit. I think someone's at the door, so I'll be right back. Alright, there we go. One had slipped in, as it were. None of them have slipped in as far as I'm aware. Unless they're magicians now. I mean, considering the amount of stealing one of them does, wouldn't surprise me. Celestial Wanderer. I know your cresting wave. I know when I ended stream yesterday, I saw one of these ships, one of these motherships, unless it was a bug, was an absolute monster. It was a monster of a ship. I'm pretty sure, unless they do a refit to give the Yorktown Sea the arc lasers, that these guys will tear it apart as well, which is another thing. But no, I thought I saw an absolute monster of a mothership, like 100,000 tons displacement level of monster. I was so certain I saw it. It was one that rated very powerfully, obviously. There, the Aaron Storm. I think that's it. Yes. Okay. This thing, I believe, says two things. One, this scares the ever-living shit out of me. How about this, Fertile? The game will take 100 Spend 2,100 bucks in the process as well. Yep. I mean, that works for a title. That does work for a title. But no. This thing, it says one of two things. Firstly, it's that the aliens are starting to counterbuild a little bit, and that they're going for armor. Probably after my destroyer just drive by constantly blowing tiny little holes in their mothership battle when it ran out of ammunition completely for all its kinetic weapons. So, one, they're armoring up massively, considering this thing's dry mass is 120,000 tons. This thing is almost entirely armor, if I had to guess, with a little bit of range. Like, I could probably build ships lighter than this that could match this thing's range if I really wanted to, and really wanted to spend the resources, which I really don't. Are things I have no more information about. Like, this is a brand new ship, and it's like the first of its class. Notably, it's a Space Superiority class, so they're starting to counterput a little bit by armor, and also probably an increase in point defense weapons over missiles, which will explain why it's actually rated at a lower combat rating than one of the. Because there's a dreadnought, not a dreadnought, a cresting wave mothership in this fleet. See, the cresting wave defense bomber is rated at 2,000, and this is also fresh, not combat, just hanging around at a base. But the Eternal Storm's rested at 1.3, so this is probably a massive increase in point defense. Which means my gut feeling of moving away from point defense towards lasers is actually probably the right call to make. Because they've probably seen my, general use of large amounts of railguns and went, alright, armor and point defense. Considering our point defense has generally been poor. Before we unpause, I'm going to go and ship classes. I need to do an update to the Yorktown Seas. So once it gets in orbit, we can go and quickly retrofit these lasers to arc laser point defense. They'll become the What is it today with poetically fitting names? Like, we got the ship we launched was Gallipoli, and this version of it with the updated is the Jutland subclass, except it's going on to Gallipoli. Like, what is it with interesting poetic names today? That's fine. It's literally designed to just stay in Earth orbit. I don't know if that should obsolete the Valley Forges. See, these... Like, these I'm tempted, but then again, I don't want to spend 300 now, considering I finally kind of settled on my endgame drive, which is the neutron fluxes. I want to try and save as much fizzos as possible. So I'm actually not going to build. I'm actually going to remove these two designs. And instead I'm going to build a couple of these Endurance, which are basically a Lively, but with an engine swap, a lighter reactor, same armor, better point defense, same main weapon, but also using an Orion drive. So they are rated lower combat, but they'll go like a bat out of hell, considering they're topping 200 millig's acceleration right now. Like, they're the first ships that can truly match the aliens in combat maneuverability, which is good. But yeah, the Jutlands is going to be the refit of this Yorktown Sea once it finally gets to orbit. But yeah, this Eternal Storm, I'm worried about exactly how much armor this thing has. Considering it's 120,000 tons? If that thing comes down to Earth, I cannot stop it right now. Like, even if we were to magically get all, like, the UV arcs and coil guns, I don't think I can stop it.
We're winning their hearts and minds.
Malaysia, that's fine.
Violence is abating.
That's also good. Those are both good things. Yeah, repeat that mission.
Public sentiment is increasingly with us.
Yeah, we need to run these, because Space defenses, Indonesia. That should be the last of Indonesia's space. No, Indonesia still has some space defenses left to build. It's probably right here. Probably right here. This is probably the last one. Which is, I guess, it's good to do that last one. You don't need to build an army. I mean, you will need to build an army eventually. But my hope is to unify Malaysia into Indonesia. That way, Indonesia should grandfather in Malaysia's army, and then we'll be able to declare war on Port Moresby, and also we'll probably take Australia from the academy, which should be fine. That shouldn't be too difficult, hopefully, and then we could, you know, declare war or peacefully unify, which depending on the situation. But yeah, I think going knowledge, welfare, economy with a little bit of military spending to keep unrest going down is fine. Building army at 23% should be fine. Space defense is just kind of ticking along. It will be fine. Again, just kind of looking, making sure nothing's going too crazy. Everything's moving in the right directions, which is good. And as is, if the aliens had more assault carriers, we'll probably actually have a higher military tech army if we can get there first. With the Pan-Asian Combine, they're at 7.2. Like, and the max is 8.0. So they are actually extremely close to hitting the max. Well, the reason I have this select actually has Fallout in it. Because from the small nuclear war about 10 hours ago worth of game time. European Union. That's for the servants, their turn guy. Alright, Romeo 74 is complete transfer. You're docked at De Ruyter. Yes, you are. Alright, ship construction. This gives me a chance to see what's going on with the aliens. Yeah, they're transferring to low orbit, arriving 15th July. Depending how much fuel this thing burns. Depending how much fuel this thing and what weapons it has, we may send the Gallipoli out to fight it. Rallying Victor 17. What's 17? Docked there. That's 6 ships. That's oh, they're pulling all their colony ships together. These are all the colony ships, which do have ironically enough, have a plasma battery. Which is kind of ironic. Like, ironically enough, these colony ships are actually, I mean, they're lightly armored. And they just, even with one fusion torch, they still almost hit 1G combat acceleration. Yeah, these things are, ironically enough, quite dangerous, considering the fact that they have a plasma battery, which can fire to 1,000 kilometers, and you can't stop plasma from coming in. Also, along with the advanced alien light mag cannon, which can't fire quite as far out, but does do more damage, and can bombard, but has less, and also has the point defense beam. So this force Sorting out to go and strike something could be very, very dangerous. Like this force coming, because like Victor 36, this sword on our side has been here for a long time. Actually, this is a Rasparian Dawn class dreadnought. We can see what it is with this. But this thing's main weapon system is missiles, arrows, and mags. So, one against all these missiles, I don't like the odds of. Which means I might have to let them blow up. That is only the spinal mag, that's not the advanced spinal, which is thankfully a good thing. But I may have to let them blow up the station we just ordered construction of. Just in order to, well, not lose this ship. Because I even whiff. To the Jutland. At the Reuter. 16 days. And that's nice and quick. It should be done before any call to action arrives. Yeah, it'll be done before any call to action arrives. But yeah, I don't... Oh. Hi, Gallipoli. Yes, hello, Bug. I don't think she's quite that... Oh, there she goes. But say, don't think she's quite that big. But then again, I mean, you never know. You never know. We've been building them pretty big for the last little bit. Actually, I was about to say, how long till the regular ships, the 81? So it's only been 10 days. Thought it would have been more for some reason. And 52 for this Valley Forge, which is in Extreme Mars. That reminds me, October we had a ship arriving in Mars we had to try and knock out. With the Valley Forge, which is updated. Actually, is the Valley Forge... Easiest way is to go to ship construction. Valley Forge. Ultraviolet laser battery point... No, we need to update the Valley Forges. And these guys to actually have... Actually, I know what we're doing. We were saving them for a single update, a single refit. Just get them all done in one. That's why we hadn't updated this design yet. Plus, I mean, it may become the point of we can't actually even refit them, depending on the research and all that. But no, I might have to put a station around Venus, just to have good odds of it surviving. But before I do anything like that, I need more MC cap. I need more MC cap, which means either building a station for MC cap, which isn't efficient, or allowing Panic Combine to go and crank some stuff out. Considering if we went full MC cap, ignore everything else, which I'm not going to do, we would crank out one a month, which isn't super fast, but it is quick. But it needs so much other stuff that I can't, in good justification, go and dump everything into MC only. Maybe earlier on I could have, but not at this point. I need this to grow in GDP and in knowledge and all that for science output, because it's not great. That's 89. That is the...
Recon complete.
Yeah, recon complete. That is the transport, which is probably going to crash land in a second. Or it's going to attack the station that's under construction before it crash lands. Nope, there it is, crashing on Earth in Brazil. New orgs. Formation station, that's Mars' stuff coming online in low Mars. But I say, didn't... Yeah, go Brazil.
On the way to the target site.
Yeah, go assault that
Heading
in
to the
Brazil
LZ.
too. Please burn it open again. Alright, that's fine. Those assignments should be fine. Let's take a look at orgs though. Has engineering +3, +1 would be nice. I can't afford that. Which sucks. You can be updated. Let's put command in. Because you're already capped basically an admin. You almost update. And more command would be ops income, which I mean works. I'm tempted by security or science, one of the two. For you when you come up, you're going to get admin 100%. You are going to get. So you can technically crack down on it, but let's get your science up first. And then you can also update more science. Yeah, more science. Considering science just gives us 1% research income by 1%, so let's have 114. That should be. That's 115, so an extra 1, which adds up over time. It really does add up. You're actually fairly good for your orgs. So that's that done. Confirm assignments. That should be all good.
Offering counsel.
Now it's the part of just sitting down and waiting. New Delhi. That's fine. That's a lot of servants. Probably about to lose that counselor, if I had to take a guess. And that's cracked down. Looks like Academy's going to lose that. All-in-one's completed transfer. Rupus. Again, if we lose this, it's actually not too bad. And this one... Oh, this is the one we stole, I think. It's got a little bit of defense. It's got a point defense array. And that was a former fission reactor. So yeah, if this blows up, it's not the end of the world, considering this is 3MC. I'm actually tempted to go and order it decommissioned. So I'm pretty sure that's... I think we're very close to, or just barely over the edge for hate. They're doing advanced rail cannon now. And Orion drive a little bit. Which is fine. I mean, not fine, but it's not as bad as it could be. I mean, technically they already have their endgame goal. They have their goal technology. Heavy IR arc laser batteries. That is the 4 slot. Super heavy arc. That cannon, that is the nose battery. Begun orbital bombardment. Technically, even with just a single point defense array, you do technically outgun it. Technically. So whether or not anything comes of that, explosions on an alien ship, is up in the air. We'll see. Let's see. Destroyed. And the ship was destroyed. Excellent. What are these? Foreman stations. So Foreman stations should be done as construction work. So Foreman stations should now be a little guard station, basically. Or rather, semi-bastion. So far, nothing's heading for Armadale, I don't think. Then again, nothing's in orbit of Earth to go after Armadale. They don't arrive till 11 September. You're coming 7th of November. You are another transport. So I can't catch you. I don't have the Delta V. You're arriving 15. You're arriving next year. Okay, so you're not a problem yet. You guys might be. Because it's 2 interdictors. I mean, the thing is, that is a Yorktown D, so they will engage. It will engage farther out, I believe, than they will, except for missiles. I keep going a little bit too far with my exiting. Yes, we'll just use the Jetland here, considering is that. Wait, no, I need the ship design. Yeah, the rail cannon and the heavy rail. So, nose weapons, rail cannon Mark III is 800. I mean, they can maneuver, so it's not guaranteed hits. But we can start the engagement well before they can. Hell, even the base rail cannon has... It's a little bit less range, but it can still engage. Yeah, particle beams just are definitely not worth it. Definitely not the early ones. They are not worth in the slightest. Don't know why it's not hiding them, but that should be fine. Yorktown D is already... That is the Valley Forges, so that's fine to mark as trashed. And the Triumph is the Lively / the Endurance, depending on situation. Actually, the Livelies are technically obsolete. Because the Livelies are the lasers. I would prefer this, because this is water versus fizzles. So definitely prefer this over having to get a fizzles. And just use the fizzles for that one particular engagement where high G maneuvers will probably be very, very important. Because this is 10 armor is enough to take hits on the nose from the kind of weapons that the aliens have, the rail cans the aliens have, are on Mercury. Although we'll probably hold off, probably wait until we get good designs, and then just kind of redesign from there. Wait a little bit more, get some more weapon tech, get the reactor tech and all that. But yeah, this is an eventual problem. This is... Depending on the amount of fuel it burns, it may not be a very big problem. It really depends on the amount of fuel it burns. Considering with missiles depleted, it's 300. Yeah, well, missiles depleted is just 300. Because it does have an orange laser battery, which I think is slightly better than green. I think. Alright, it looks like a lot of the same stats as green. So it's... They're not as big a immediate problem, but they definitely something to worry about. Especially considering it's a single ship around Earth right now. At the Reuter Station under refit. Hell, the Reuter Station... I mean, hopefully it updates automatically to the arcs when they come online. But I may have to sacrifice Armadale. Although I would much rather have Armadale complete. 30th October. I'm probably going to have to launch... Because those 2 corvettes cannot win against De Ruyter. So I'm going to send Gallipoli / Jutland, whichever name it decides to pick, over to Armadale to guard it once it's done its refit. To at least give solid fight if the aliens try to destroy it before it's completed. 101 has launched a trajectory for Monhan Station. Alright. That is the main Mars station. Yeah, that's the Extreme Mars Orbit. That is a little bit less point defense than what they have, because it already has an op center down in Mercury, and also a fusion pile. You have 140 spare power. To 90 days to do. $101. How long is it going to take for 101 to get there? Because they will complete a Valley Forge before they arrive. Almost certainly. 16th of September. This year. I mean, they might not complete a Valley Forge. 40 days. I do have a ship in Mars orbit. I just took down to low Mars orbit. Romeo... No, you're the assault corvette. Romeo 65. You are a Yorktown... You're a Valley Forge, so you're a laser boat. Which should be good to help with the point defense. If nothing else, to thin the herd. You'll arrive in 2 days, so you will get there before they arrive. With a little bit of Delta V to spare, just for combat maneuvers. Then again, these are dreadnoughts. They're not the most maneuverable ships in the world. But yes, launch immediately. I know you're here for another ship, but depending if you survive. I mean, actually, the only other station it would have gone for is, unless bombardment, is Forbin, and Forbin can handle the one ship that's coming in. Forbin can handle it. I'm basically certain of it. You have 45 power. I'm going to upgrade one of these to a fusion pod from space. Could upgrade to a nanofactory for extra money. But again, I'm worried about my nobles income going too high. Get me a military science center. I mean, I do need a nanofactory. But military science center in place of here. 81 days. We still have spare power if they do arrive. Well, they're going to arrive sooner, but hopefully... I mean, it won't make a bearing. Considering it does also have the... 69, which does have... is a Chivy, which has a weapon and point defense lasers, so it can help defend the station a little bit. It only has a Mark 1 light rail cannon, so not quite as good by a long shot of what's coming in, but it will be able to at least defend. Alright, so that's that situation immediately taken care of. Once the refit for the other one is done, we're going to have to launch it to Armadale.
Things are cooling off.
Super Heavy Green Arc Laser Cannon. That's the nose 4 slot.
Things are stabilizing.
Super... Repeat.
We've moved the needle.
Repeat. Alright, you're now Manhan. Close. No, that's the one we had there. How long would it take you to resupply? 1.8 days. And do it. Get yourself a full tank Delta V. Thing is, I don't know what they'll do, because they're headed for Monhan Station. So they'll either take battle, or they'll move somewhere else. Because the aliens... Vungana is no. 114. From a series. So yeah, they're Poland fleet. That's a single destroyer. Thing is, that is our ops station. And I don't think we'll be able to build anything in time. So this station is probably going to be destroyed, which is going to be a major hit to our ops. Hasn't even been a month yet, so there's no way there's a destroyer who can rush over. Yeah, 66 days. It depends. High series. Oh, what was it? Again, it was 114. 114, 114. There it is. 10th October. No, it won't be done yet. There won't be one done yet. It will be 60. It will be done starting November. So it will have arrived and have plenty of time to blow that up before one destroyer is built. Plus, it could very easily just simply join with a another ship. Yeah, I could easily just decide to join with these guys too. I don't know why they're just... Because they went for the shipyard station around Mercury, and then they stopped when they realized they couldn't actually attack it. But yeah, this station right here is an Achilles heel, and I have nothing to defend it with. I should have built some defenses in just to try and dissuade attack, but I also wouldn't have helped if I hadn't lost basically my entire fleet by going a little bit too ambitious. But, you know, we live and learn. We live and learn. Nothing to do but keep going. Academy on Turkey, on Israel, Syria, and Israel. Alright. That is that done. Infrared arc laser battery, that is the mediums. So yeah, that's done. And Jutland class Gallipoli. Alright, so it's still the Gallipoli. 76 now. Alright, you're going to transfer to Armadale. Considering they're probably going to go for Armadale. Like, De Ruyter can defend it. Has very good odds of defending itself. Very good odds of defending itself against what's coming in. Armadale will have good enough odds to see things off, provided, you know, it gets a chance to actually complete construction. That's the thing, it needs to complete construction first. And there's no guarantee that's going to happen. I wish I had more ships in Earth orbit. I'm not going to be able to rush anything to completion before they arrive, because they're arriving in Earth orbit. The two I'm worried about on 11th September. And they could very easily just roll over and blow up Armadale Station. So hopefully, Romeo 76, I mean... She is a Yorktown D. No, she's a C. Isn't she? Yeah, she's a C, so... She'll have the range advantage, but she'll also have the point defense advantage. Considering they have no point defense, their only defense is dodge. And she does some ECM, not advanced ECM though, but she does have ECM, so she will be able to hopefully destroy some alien missiles before they arrive. Keep it on some, but that is the hope, that she'll be able to knock out some alien missiles before they actually come in and strike the ship. which will help increase survivability. Low series orbits, 103. Steel Fortress Corvette. That's Bombard, if I had to guess. In fact, yeah, light alien mag and missiles. So that can bombard. I mean, it's probably gonna explode. Considering, oh, it blew up that. I'm about to go, ooh, jump on that. I'm like, wait, no. A, MC cost, can't afford it. B, they'll blow it up the moment I set any type of base down there. It will just get exploded. It will not live. Although, I must be really pissing the aliens off considering I do have the best spot on series for myself. Actually, that's a tier 3 colony. 73k. Huge alien mining complex. That is top-end alien mining complex. Alien layer defense arrays. Alien point defense array. Fusion reactor. I wish I could capture those intact, because that would be a very good additional mining base. I wouldn't mind paying the cost for that mining base, but I can't, so. There, you can't change the laws of physics there, Captain. Ooh, that's actually going to be done on 31st December at this rate. And 30th April. So they are actually speeding up slightly, which is good. And we're still somehow holding. I mean, to be fair, we did put 16,000 research into heavy pulse propulsion before realizing, oh, we had the better one already. And of course now that I've gone, oh yeah, we're going neutron flux. Now to get deuterium tritium fusion. Now. Not, a couple months ago before I started this, where we went, alright, we'll hold off for that because then we can start working on fully realizing our Z-Pinch stuff, but no, after we start working on Saltwater Core Reactor 1. Of course it does. Game. You love to tease me with the research tech sometimes. Hold on. That is... That's an initiative... That's an Academy fleet there. Why are you... Unless you just defected to the Academy. But I say... Yeah, you probably just defected to the Academy. Also, I believe this ship is old as all hell, considering the rust on her. I mean, there's one thing our ships don't have to worry about. They don't have to worry about rust, because they get blown up too quickly. But now this is Nerva drive, Solid Core 3, Lithium Sulfur. Yeah, this is like ancient at this point in terms of military ships. Ancient. Actually, this one does have some dirt spots on it, but not too many. Series, I expect to see a destruction in a second. Considering the amount of firepower we put at series, if it doesn't blow up, I'll be very surprised.
By the numbers.
All light arc laser cannons. That is the nose mount. That would be useful. Wipe most stop. What has ended its bombarding run? Didn't blow up anything up though, which is nice. Let's just take a look at the light UV arc. That's one nose mount. That is more power than the Like the heavy is... It's actually almost comparable to the heavy, which is the 3 notes. Green is the 1 nose arc. Does take exotics, of course, which isn't great. How there's not a whole lot of difference between the heavies and the super heavy. Other than range. Oh, that's green arc. Actually, ironically enough, the heavy green arc laser cannon has better armor effectiveness at 500 kilometers. Not by a whole lot, but it does. It can also bombard. This can also not bombard through atmosphere. So we'll probably have to pick up the green version just from bombardment purposes. Unless I'm reading them backwards. Oh no, I'm reading them backwards. I was looking at the light. Okay, that explains the confusion. My super heavy is... Super heavy... A super heavy UV arc. There we go. Now the UV arc can't go through atmosphere, but the greens can. It is still better in terms of armor than the other ones, though. It takes 1.8 exotics, though. So I might have to pick up green just for just to prevent exotic costs from spiraling out of control. Oh, so hospital would be nice. Eventually. Considering this will make $60 without tapping into our nobles, except for construction costs. So, off we go. That's 9 billion people. Science is increasing, that's where it's coming from. Science in the Panasian Combine is slowly going up. They're upset about spoils, but then again, knowledge is increasing. As well as government score. That needs to die. Yeah, that needs to die.
Going in hot.
Ready for orders.
Go to question site Brazil.
On the way to the target site.
Confirm assignments. Should be fine to let unrest rise a little bit. I mean, it's down, and it's trending down. It's not warning me about not enough military spending. How are you doing over here? You're nearly done space flight. You're halfway down to army, which means we'll hopefully be able to absorb Indonesia, the Philippines, not Indonesia. We want to absorb Malaysia into Indonesia, not the other way around. Hell, we might be able to just unify with, depends. See, we can't do that. We can't with the Philippines because or Malaysia has a navy, so it needs a navy. Federation, unification, all that. So it'd be quicker just to go declare war and then use the Panasian Combine's military. Being brutally honest. Luckily, Russia doesn't come in and mess this all up too much. Reykjavik, that's fine. Go look over there. You're not going to find anything anyway. Medium UV arc. Not sure which of these to pick. I think green would be good for the cannons. Because the cannons are more powerful than the batteries. And so they can basically match the UV batteries without compromising the ability to bombard, which would be good. That'd be very nice to still retain the ability to bombard. Repeat mission. Let's find the repeats. I think. Should be fine.
Order is returning.
You can just continue there, considering that is down to basically no.
The people will come to our side.
Repeat, keep doing that, because we don't want to run Unity right now. We need to get the democracy score up, we need to get knowledge up. This will also drag cohesion up. Heavy UV arc laser cannon. Current Oman. Alright, that's fine. I mean, not fine for Oman, but fine for me. It's got 2 navies, I believe. No, it's got 1 navy, the US does. I think it's good to just get a second one for navy. Just to have it. And then turn it off and go space defense just to more quickly get that done. And then that will just cascade into just getting the economy back up and running. Getting welfare up and... because the inequality is insane. Getting the economy full up, which will increase GDP. And also getting the democracy score away from anocracy, which is where it's sitting at. Uh, 95. You're these two. So you're rating at 357 combat power. Which is more than... Well, they won't be able to beat De Ruyter, for sure. They just don't have the weaponry. And De Ruyter has 2 good point defense. I guess it's going to see if Gallipoli will live up to her name and render victory. And prevent a landing effectively by... or landing at Armadale. And destroying Armadale. It's up in the air. Depends on what happens, where they go. Because they're not just... They may just sit here, though.
Score 1 for the good guys.
Repeat that mission. That needs to die. But
We found something.
I continue. I don't know what they're gonna do. That's the thing. I think they're looking at it and they're going, we don't have good enough odds to take on... That's 2 Palace. That's fine. That one defend that station better. But I think it's a case of where it's marginal right now with what the Gallipoli is labeled at, rated at for combat power. So I think they're gonna act like the Mercury. Medium green arc laser cannon. That's good. New orgs. We'll take a look. But I think our orgs are relatively good. That's criminal, so we can't get that anyway. 5% military. That's not too bad of a... I mean, we don't need the boost. It's not enough to swap out to for something else. I mean, Zeus known. Let's say you can't. I was gonna say if you can update, maybe. Then we already got all these orgs here. We need to put back in. I mean, the wealth Atlas Trust, 2% welfare is not quite enough. This, however, needs to go back on because mining output. We need more of that and more economy, more spoils. It's not the best, but it's better than nothing. This I'm actually tempted to sell. We'll sell. Does it cost upkeep? No, it doesn't. Actually, cancel that sell. The fund does cost a little bit, but it is 6% welfare. And 6% welfare will be very useful right now. You can update. You are Miss Assassin. Get you more science. And you can also update. Yes, you can. Actually, things I could get. I could wait with you. Give you Chief Chemist, which would be Doubling your science you get from chemist, and more persuasion, more influence rather. They also give you another science point for free, and another 10% to materials science, which would be very useful. That would be very useful. That'd be very, very useful. Like a 10% bonus just from a trait. Well, the thing is, I need to get your security up because the aliens might start hunting for assassinations. And that would also... boosting that up would help too. I think I'm going to have to go with science. Let's get science up more because that will boost defense against alien actions like Infrawl and all that. And I need to find somebody to actually turn. Okay. This is Victor 101. This is a Valley Forge versus Ain Mahan Station. They're willing to fight. Alright. Mahan Station's not a pushover. We want you to stop. Or do we? I don't think we accelerate you. Aim for the destroyer. Because if you can knock it out, then we don't get no more point defense from it. We don't accelerate. We leave the lasers on guardian mode. That way, you know, if they get a chance they'll engage. Otherwise they'll engage shots. And we kind of accept that you may be just a sacrifice here in order to prevent that. You have the heavy heat sinks, don't you? You should have the heavy heat sinks. Laser engine, laser heavy, leave from heat sinks, so you should have plenty of heat reserves to draw it in immediately. On your focus target, please, if you would mind. As soon as they're within range. Thing is, I think we should have enough to get through the point defense on the destroyer. That's whether or not we have enough point defense to survive the rest coming in, is the question. Actually, I wonder if it gets a win if we still have the station but lose everything else. Alright, railguns have started engaging. As well as the railguns on the station. They're engaging different targets though, which is a shame. Don't lock. Oh, the destroyer is dead. Excellent. On the spectral dusk. Luck to that. And now comes the question and the test. Will that point defense be enough? Alright, I guess the first wave it was. And the UV lasers are weakening it, but I don't think it'll be enough here. Just a little bit too much. Yeah, a little bit too much. I think that little bit extra range the arcs had, it would have been enough. Well, the thing is, that is their most of their munitions gone, so this will be a win. Even if they knock out actually did. They took a hit, but they didn't knock it out. But yeah, no, the cresting wave looks like it's getting ready to run. Thing is, she has no point defense. Yeah, she's running. She is running. No, she's not. She's coming around again. She's just dodging. That's what she's doing. Dodging out of range, dodging back in. Ooh, that was actually very well done. Oh, he is coming back in. Well, the station's opening up again, so see how long he lasts. Took a little bit of damage to that layer defense array, but that should be fixed. And there's enough shots in the air that he probably will not survive this run. This was not a smart move. I mean, something's gonna hit him eventually. There's just too many rounds in the air. Unless he's just happy to waste all his fuel. Which I'm happy to let him do. Considering he has no more missiles, which is the main weapon he has. So if he decides to run, I'll let him run. Otherwise, I'll let him use up his fuel. It would be a fool not to let him use up his fuel. I mean, I wish I had longer range stuff. Oh, he's actually gotten within gun range. These should be knocked out. Even before the point defense arrives. Yeah, knocked out by the USB laser batteries. Not even arc lasers, just regular lasers. I think if that had been arc, both point defense and lasers, I think we've been fine. But yeah, this guy is actually maneuvering very, very well to frustrate. I mean, he can't hurt us. He physically cannot hurt us unless he basically tries to ram. But he's maneuvering very well to frustrate the defending shots. It'd be nice if he come just a little bit closer, so that the laser weapons can actually get into firing. But eventually he's going to get hit by something. Something is going to hit him, and he cannot get through our defenses. There's just too much point defense, effectively. But yeah, I think if the Valley Forge had been a little bit closer, I think it would have survived. It would have been fine, just by itself, without enough maneuverability to actually get back. So we really need better drives. Nothing else so that they can actually slow down in time. I mean, as is, it's also Dreadnought with not as much armor as it really should have. I have been very frugal on the armor of the Dreadnoughts, just in order to try and get their acceleration and also range to be something acceptable, and not insanely low. Yeah, you're just gonna dance out here, aren't you? I mean, the more you burn, the more gas you're wasting, which means you might become a dead ship for the next Valley Forge to come along and just blow up at its own convenience. So if you go and burn all your Delta V here, I'm not going to complain. And you never know, eventually one of these rounds is going to hit. Like, you can't dodge everything forever, but you're putting out a damn good show of it. Does not wish to end the battle, yeah. I wonder if there's a limit of the rounds on a layer defense array. I don't know. I don't think there is. But they don't actually alternate firing, which would be interesting. mean, there's more spots for weapons there. Why don't we just add more weapons, personally? But, you know. Bean counters are saying no. Off he goes again. Alright, he's now willing to end. In fact, he's probably going to run. Because he's probably low on fuel. No, he might be coming back again. I'm tempted to actually just keep just letting this run. Actually, there's Mars back there. Just basically let us run. Because if he burns up almost all his fuel, he's going to be stuck here. Which means he is going to be a easy shot. He's cutting us very close. The closer he comes, the less time is needed for these to arrive, so the better odds of actually scoring hits. But once again, he's putting on a masterclass of dodging in a Corvette. Which is what he should be doing, considering the weapons he's up against are all magnetic and very slow firing. But no, the more he just spends his Delta V like this, the greater chance he runs out. Which means when the next one, whenever it comes online, is actually done, it can just kind of roll out and go, oh yeah, no, you're dead. Is he trying to get past the station? I think he is. He is. This is an extremely dangerous game. Because he's going to get close enough that they can't... Yep, the lasers are firing. He's playing a dangerous game. And I think he's going to lose. Considering he has to come to almost a dead stop. How he's getting away with this, I have no idea. I don't know how the hell he got away with that firing run. We didn't even fire, he just dodged. I'm intrigued what this AI is going to do again. Because if he keeps making runs like that, he's going to get his armor blown off eventually. Is he out of Delta V? It lasted your prophetic attempts. It does, but the thing is, this is now possibly a dead ship. This ship might be out of Delta V. Which means I can take my own leisure time of blowing this thing up. So now I will end the battle. So victory for the Resistance. It's out of Delta V. Counts as damaged / destroyed, so we get exotics for it. We did lose the Valley Forge. They really need to improve this sort of behavior. I mean, to be fair, I did kind of abuse the AI there. I did basically go, oh, if you're gonna keep making these maneuvers, I'm just gonna let time run, despite the fact that you want to end battle. If he ran away, there is no AI. It's just dumb scripts, yeah. Yeah. I did abuse the script in that case. I called it. I mean, yeah, it is a script. Yeah, script wouldn't be AI. But yeah, I just kind of abused it. Went, all right, if you're just gonna keep making these maneuvers and burn up all your Delta V, misuse the term AI. No, that is fair. That is completely fair. But it's just like, well, if it's gonna keep doing this, never interrupt the enemy while they're making a mistake. Considering, oh no, you're not out of Delta V. You still got 500 Delta V left. I thought you were out of Delta V. I was about to go, oh, just clean up your own leisure. No, I can't. Also, Sierra 34. What the hell the servant's been building? We've been so focused on what the aliens are doing that it's just like, what are you doing, servants? Sierra 34. Have they been scrapping ships? They might have been. That's Hades nuclear torpedoes. I think these are Meteor. I don't know, they're just saying, they're just nuclear torpedo boats. They must have been scrapping ships. Or they got beat up somewhere else. Humanity First is at 9 ships. Actually, let's say Romeo 69. Did we? I can't remember. It's been a little bit. Did we lose? No, we did not lose one of our Fizzile bases. I thought we lost one to another faction of one of our Fizzile bases. We didn't. I mean, we could assault. What is this one? You have it's a little bit ops. This is a very weird building. Fission arrays, which interesting. They do have Marine platoon barracks there. It's tier 2, 7.2. That would help. A little more science. I think I'll leave it alone. I do have a ship here. It's a basically a transport for assault for Marines. But I think I will leave it alone for the moment. I mean, as is, I do have what is a bit of a stare down going on in Earth orbit. Considering I've got the Gallipoli, which, you know, of the updated Jutland class, because, you know, definitely nice names. Definitely won't cause any problems. Because we do have ships here, and I do want Armadale Station to complete, because Armadale is more science, and it's more importantly, it's military science in low Earth orbit. So I definitely want this to complete if possible. It's gonna take till the end of October though. Which means, for the moment, the Gallipoli is going to hang around to orbit here. Because if I left it alone, that alien fleet would just run along and just blow it up. Considering they're actively launching attacks against other bases in Mercury orbit, as well as Ceres. Although the Ceres base did kind of defend itself. Well, it didn't defend itself, it just didn't get blown up. Which is, I guess, the same thing as defending itself. But yeah, I want to protect Armadale until it's built, hopefully. Also, after we settled on the Saltwater Core, what does the AI factions decide to research? Deuterium Tritium Fusion, you know, the thing I'd want to get a couple of streams ago before I went. Saltwater Core is actually probably better. You know, because that's how it goes. Public opinion just dropped a little bit. And it might be an alien, because there was an alien crash site up here, and we couldn't find the alien itself. Yeah, let's go run that there. We are 1k down, but it should be fine.
Ready to go.
You go assault.
Gear up.
No, actually, in that case, considering that's the only one, go investigate. If you do a trade, we have computer games, they'll service you pay for, that will actually play the game like a human would. No BS cheating or difficulty nonsense. Yeah. I mean, that'd be definitely interesting to see what it comes up with. Like, what it spots you can do. Because technically, like, they've already started another game today. Technically speaking, I could basically immediately force a battle by... or attempt to force a battle against alien surveillance destroyers by just out-delta-Ving them by using ion drives, because ion drives are like the most efficient drives you can get, basically. Just slapping 6 of those on and maxing out the Delta V. Like, it doesn't matter if the ships survive. Its goal is to bring to battle a surveillance destroyer and try and hopefully destroy it with missiles. You know, stuff like that. Yeah, or grid drives. Depending on exactly where you are tech-wise and all that, when the aliens actually pull into orbit permanently with a destroyer for surveillance and not just the crashing destroyers that drop off aliens. Because if you can... is that my spy? That's my spy. Grid drive is so close to ion, no point use ion. Yeah. Yeah, that is fair. You're... survey location and protecting. It's interesting that the servants are running around on a survey location protecting them. That's very interesting. I mean, I do have 2 assassins in resistance, so I could, if I really want to, just go around shooting servants. I should probably deal with that fixer. Because I think, yeah, that fixer should be dealt with next turn. She's got Shield the Devoted. That's where a lot of it's coming from. And I can't steal that. That's 5 command, 6 admin, 10 security. She needs to die. If anything, I should probably try and assassinate both of these characters here. That's the Sword of the Devoted. Abduction, Herald of Our Masters. Postery Org. Alien Administration Translation Team. Build Facility. Why are you not building facilities? I wonder... Things I don't know how... Because I haven't played Servants. Because we technically destroyed the alien nation already. Because it landed, it arrived. Because it managed to get settled down and have its armies down, take a territory before it could get there. I know that they can spawn the alien administration by building facilities. I wonder if they're no longer able to do that because we've destroyed the alien administration already. That's actually a very curious question because I've not seen any bases at all pop up on Earth. Then again, I am currently lacking any xenoscience facilities around Earth due to the aliens blowing them up and not having the ships to guard their construction. But I wonder if they're not able to actually build facilities now because the alien administration has come into being and then got destroyed. In fact, destroying the alien administration is what caused the minor nuclear war. So it's entirely possible they can't build bases. First, like quarantine protocols. I mean, that's stuff we're gonna have to get. Search for enemies in Beijing. I mean, you're gonna see
We'll be ready
these
when you
two.
order,
Then again,
sir.
she's been here, adminning here for a long time, so that's not a surprise. That's Phobos coming along with some science, which will help. That's actually helping a lot. That went from 2.8 to 3.0. That's gonna help a fair bit. That's a heavy green arc laser. That is the 4-slot arc for green. Probably gonna go with green nose arc lasers
Public opinion
and
is
actually
moving in our direction.
move away from railguns. Because the aliens have built a small vessel. They haven't moved it from orbit, from where they've constructed it, I don't think. But they have a small vessel. It weighs a small bit. You know, nothing major. Doesn't. Vector 122 is rallying with them. They're gonna make another attempt at a station. I'm starting to try and get those Corvettes, but they can just dance and run away if I try to. Where's 112? But no, these guys are a problem. We're building ships to hopefully deal with. This is a slow problem. But this thing, this Eternal Storm class mothership. This thing either tells me the aliens are counter-building, or this is just the next logical step from the further war footing, is putting these things into production. Because this is 120,000 dry tons. It's got one of our basically one of our dreadnoughts in there and just fuel. Like, this thing is ridiculously heavy armor. Like I'm saying, like, to the point where I'm almost tempted. Like, this, depending on the armor values, could be a very solid use case for Particle. Because, if I'm correct, Particle counts as 25% armor against it. Then again, it only has like 5 damage at 20 kilometers, so you have to basically fly right up to the bloody thing in order to do damage. But this could be a very serious particle. Like, anti-particle is required, or plasma. Because I have no idea how much armor this thing has. Like, they've built it and they've not moved it. And so this thing, it concerns me a small bit. It's also probably much more PD, which is another reason I'm kind of leaning towards going to a laser based, a non-PD based build soon. Is because if they're going armor and more PD, then if I switch to more laser and no PD defensible weapons, it's wasting slots on their hulls. And also countering the older ships that are kind of lying around, which are which have a lot of PD defensible weapons. It's kind of my thinking for building ships going forward. Sangamia, that's Academy.
Is moving in our direction.
I will repeat that. That should be fine. Actually, let's take a look at science research. We're still holding here somehow, despite doing nothing. This is gonna be done December, and February almost.
We're winning their hearts and minds.
Yes, repeat that mission. Well, it's almost a permanent assignment at this point. It's almost a permanent assignment. Just because Northern Balkan states and Yugoslavia decided to merge. Alright. Unifications. That is towards 0 still. Repeat. Hopefully knowledge, once that really comes into effect, will pull that up. Although I should probably put a little bit of unity in. Alright, nano factories are coming online at Mercury. Does that base have defenses? It does. It does have some point defense. It has a pair of layer defense arrays, which should hopefully prevent it from being bombarded. I'm surprised that instead of using the fleet that is already at Mercury, that the aliens have decided to send a second fleet to attack, a very critical station, actually. An insanely critical station. Or is that Ceres? That is Mercury. Yeah, they're sending another fleet to attack Von Gneisenau, which is an op station. Which, if this dies, will put me over mission control cap. Barely, but will put me over. Which would be not good. Oh, Russia's finally coming in their war. They're finally arriving. 4.6, alright. Yeah, no, we're going to lose the Philippines to the Academy flipping it. Which is fine. We can always just flip it back and remove Russia again before we actually use Malaysia to declare war in order to bring that all in together. So that's fine. Not ideal, but it's fine. Not as bad as it could be. 7.6, that's real high. I think it's partly low GDP, which is falling. It says build army is not really helping. But the thing is, I need the army and navy in order to be able to expand Malaysia. I think. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to assume under that, that's how it works. Because if I expand Indonesia with its superior control points or points into there, it will... I don't think it will get claims in the Philippines.
Ready.
Assaults, life forms, do it.
Taking to them.
Yeah, I think I need to assault the life forms, though. I think that is the better option. Just prevent them growing into big things too much. Indonesia expired. You're going to take a break. I mean, China is relatively okay, but defend interests.
Securing our
Indonesia.
interests.
We can always take everything else back. Indonesia, we do want to keep. We do want to keep. Just going to tone down space defenses a little bit. Put everything else up more. More economy, more welfare, more knowledge, a little bit of unity still, but defend. Yeah, grid is very close, so it would probably be fine. Just go straight to grid from Ion. Actually, it would be fine, actually. That's early enough tech that works. Heavy arc laser batteries. Alright. That's another Valley Forge done. That's basically the same class we lost. They're rated as lower combat power. Are you docked? No, you're in extreme Mars orbit. Thing is, if I try and engage you, you will run. But we do know there's more fleets coming to join, so the Cape Farzaneh is going to have to hold here. We're actually over CP. How are we over CP cap? We were under it. These things don't cost CP unless there's a bug going on. How are we over CP cap? Uh, 29 days before the first of the Mercury destroyers is done. And our 160 before they're done, so they're going to be a little bit, so... It's going to be another last stand of a dreadnought with the station to kind of hopefully clear up everything else. Provided they even attack. But yeah, did something expand? Something must have expanded. GDP wise. I mean, not like control point wise, but GDP amount wise. Or India gained a control point. Has India gained a control point? Launch Valley Forge. Now allies. I think you're saying India gained a control point. But I have a sneaking suspicion India just gained a control point. I have a very sneaking suspicion. Yeah, considering it wants to go spoils military, India just gained a control point. That explains why we went over CP cap. Alright. I mean, it's fine to put India back to 5, considering it shouldn't grow too much more from there. Hopefully. So we can actually turn off spoils, because spoils are terrible. Just keep it in military, and then welfare. That's okay, you know. Do and we finish off this army, then we turn off build army, and then finish off space defenses, and then that should be fine. Yeah, do that. 23, 23, 17. Unity to help counteract, and also bring cohesion up a little bit, so tone it down a little bit less. But yeah, that's what that explains over CP cap. That explains that very handily. Let's check here. You can't. You can't. You can't. You can't. You can't. You almost can. In fact, will grab Delta Aviation just for that 5% military boost. Wait, no, it's 5% military, but 2% military science. No, I mean, that would be good. I don't feel like sacrificing the orgs required to get that. So I'll actually probably put Scorpius Metals, because that is economy bonus, which we do need to get the economy back on track fully, as well as spoils. Yeah, we'll go with that. Also, we're definitely on track to winning, or at least being very close to winning, on heavy pulse propulsion, despite not even putting any more science into it. Which is, you know, that's interesting and always nice. 3rd of March. So this is all starting a little bit depending on the amount of science we have when, you know, Control Nation kicks in and all that. Not Control. What is it? Advise. Considering that does dip down, then back up again from advising and all that. But yeah, hit continue. Continue, that's fine. That's fine. This is end of month. And that's November, so get a turn of boosting public opinion in Indonesia, probably. Corrupt generals. -2, democracy score. Inequality changes by 1. That would not be good. I mean, we'll take the higher odds of getting a little bit less military score and democracy score down a little bit. I don't want to lose the GDP. I prefer not to lose the GDP. We didn't lose the GDP. Excellent. Because that is helping unrest in India a little bit, having better GDP. I mean, as is its average GDP of 3,000. That is that getting a whole bunch of layer defense arrays. Yeah, repeat mission, that should be fine. 108 has arrived in low Mars orbit. Your orbit. You could technically bombard. But I think everything in Mars Mars bases as well as far has that. I mean, Forbin is defended now, can beat you off. Scorpio is, well, that's 1,000, that's 1,000, that's 900. So that's just a waste of a maneuver. That was just a big waste of maneuver for that alien destroyer, considering everything it can try and attack can outfight it. Everything it can try and attack can outfight it. So that was literally just a big waste of Delta V for the aliens, which I approve of. I approve of the aliens wasting resources, like Delta V, to do maneuvers like that. I approve. Never interrupt an enemy when they're making a mistake. The aliens do that to me. I did it to them. Everybody wins? Question mark. Let's put a question mark on that wins comment. Except for the people who die because of these silly maneuvers, they don't win. Bombarding... that's probably going to end very swiftly with your demise. Life science... and has been destroyed. As predicted, we started bombardment. We lost a life science center, which is easily repaired. And it got blown up, so... a win. No defenses were gone, nothing else. That's just 90 days and it's online. Yeah, this coming online is definitely helping. I mean, he's not giving us interface bonuses around Earth, which sucks a little bit, but better to have the increased tech and research output than that. Again, I'm chomping at the bit for Armadale to come online, because Armadale is definitely going to help us, considering it's a military station for science, and that will boost this up. And also just more science in general. I'm tempted to actually put a little tiny tick in, just to guarantee I have control of this slot. Because I'm winning. I mean, we don't really want nuke heavy pulsed at this point, but it would be still good to control the slot that it's in. I think we wait for Armadale to come online if it survives, and then we think about putting it in. I think we wait till then. Also, water is getting low. That should be fine. Why is Nobles dropped? Wait, no, hold on. We had a whole bunch of nanofactories come online. That's why Nobles dropped. We had a whole bunch of nanofactories, and nanofactories take 1 Noble per. Yeah, we don't have a whole lot of Noble reserves, nor fissiles, but we'll make it work.
Public sentiment is increasingly with us.
We have to. Low Presea orbits. What's around Low Presea? Oh, this space, which is, again, not critical that we keep, but a little bit of science from it is fine, but I don't mind if it blows up. To be perfectly honest, I don't mind if it blows up at all. Because I think that's the servant base that flipped to us. I say check construction, see what we're doing. 21 days, 54. Luckily, it looks like the aliens aren't going to go after Armadale. However, 114. This guy right here. We're about to suffer a large loss to mission control. Because we have nothing down here that can actually defend this station, and it has no defenses of itself. If it did have some defenses, even a pair of later defense arrays, it could actually probably hold off this destroyer, but it has nothing. So this guy can just roll up and blow it up at his own leisure. In fact, he's going to, probably. If he doesn't, I'll be very surprised. And there it goes. We're actually just barely okay. There we go. And now you're leaving. Alright. I'll take that. Cause, I mean, I can't take it just yet. I need to clear orbit first. Because I still have that fleet of 3 that went for Coordinate de Grasse station. And if I try and I get a sneaky suspicion if I try and build something in Mercury orbit while they're still hanging around, they will just simply jump on it and blow it up.
Mission abort.
Oh, wait, I mean, that's good. Probably accidentally sent 2 to the same one. But yeah, no, there's still 93, which is just hanging out outside the station. I don't know why it's just hanging out here. It can't attack the station, doesn't have enough firepower. The station actually out firepowers them. So I don't know why they aren't like going to rejoin something else, or even better question, why didn't the destroyer join with them? I had something fall underneath my chair, so I'm just gonna pick that up real quick. I mean, nothing's really going on, so we can afford to do that. But yeah, I don't know why the destroyer didn't join with those ones, because they would have had enough firepower to overrun that station. But they didn't. I'm not gonna be super upset about it. But I'm also questioning 91. 91, what are you? Alright, you're heading to Earth. Are you heading to Armadale Station? No, you're heading for Romeo 76 proper. What, these are Autumn Dawns. Do we know about the Autumn Dawns? Yes. Advanced Mag, Glittering Jewel Missile Bay. Alright, 76. See, they've... I want them to commit to this maneuver. I want... Because they're going for 76. So if I move 76 to De Ruyter... that's the thing, though. There's still... an alien... There should still be an alien fleet in Earth orbit. You're running home to repair. After that spanking. That's the standoff dreadnought. They're bringing more and more ships in. 112. Where is 112? Where is 112? See, there's another ship rallying with 112. You're transferring to low Mercury. Attack bomber. So you're probably going to be attacking the Mercury bases. And you're leaving from Mercury. You're in Extreme Mars just hanging out there. That's transport, I know that much. 103. What the hell beat you up? What actually beat you up so badly? Oh wait, no, Ceres. You bombarded Ceres and you got beat the hell for it, didn't ya? So your weapons are knocked out, you're probably knocked out of your engines as well. You're probably very much knocked out of your engines. I mean, these are very, very good yeah, no cruise, no, so you're stuck there. Don't know why I don't scuttle you. But yeah, these are very efficient drives. These, fusion lanterns. pretty sure that the neutron fluxes, though... I mean, they can't match up in efficiency. Not the first tier neutron flux. The second tier definitely can. How the second tier gets better efficiency. Far better efficiency. Yeah, I want... Yeah, launching for them. 25th December. Alright, Romeo 76. Go away from Armadale to De Ruyter. Hopefully they follow you to De Ruyter. Because Armadale Station should... 95 is still here. I just gotta hope that 95 doesn't jump on... I have to stay here until... You already started the transfer. Alright, I'm gonna have to transfer you back to Armadale immediately. I thought I'd be able to cancel before it actually left, but no. No, she's already gone. Because the last thing I want is for them to jump on Armadale before it's built. Just quickly jump back. Protect Armadale. We should have our first destroyer for Mercury coming online relatively quickly. 16 days, so before Armadale completes level first destroyer for Mercury. Which means we can hopefully start cleaning up Mercury orbits. Which will be very important. We need to start running public campaign in the Panashin Combine to counteract probably an alien. Pushing it towards alien liking. Somehow not enough military tech. Which is a concern. I mean, inequality is coming down fairly quickly. It's going down by 0.03 in the last 30 days, which a couple months is, 1 point off, so it is coming down. And that is going up. Science is going, it's up to 800. Just wish this Navy was done so I could just shut it down, because after this, I just can't afford to run the Navy construction right now. But I also can't afford to shut down on the mission control, because I need the mission control badly for ships. There we go. You said Armadale, so Armadale is complete. And then you go to De Ruyter. Also, is the Philippines going to beat back the Russian troops? Former station's got a reactor. That's a redundancy reactor. Yeah, it's looking a lot like Exodus is going to have to retreat this army, or watch it be destroyed, because the Philippines are actually doing very good.
Securing
Defend.
our interests.
Where do you need me?
We need you to find a protectorate if at all possible.
We'll
I mean,
see
odds are
what
very
they're up
good
to.
considering your scores.
Standing by for
Oh,
orders.
that's why. Because that happened. Go for the guy in Russia. That's a 1. See who he is.
Investigating target.
Wait, didn't the fantasy combine come off? Oh, it's Sarah Kai. Alright, I mean, we can just run it again, that's fine.
Securing our control.
But I mean, that's until 30th, 2043, so that's
I will head
perfectly
there.
fine. I thought for sure it was coming off cooldown. Auckland region. That's probably Probably Exodus and Initiative, if I take a guess. No guarantees, though.
Person of interest surveilled.
Ah, that's hot. I mean, I like my Ember Mug. It's actually very nice. Until you get down to the last little dregs of your ice or hot chocolate or tea or coffee, whatever you're drinking in it. Because it is very, very warm relative to the amount of liquid left. Because this thing's directly on top of the heater. Initiative. You repeat that. May as well know more about him. And that's Exodus. Heavy particle cannon mark. Took long enough to even bring this option up to us. I mean, I'm not super enthused by it. Not by a long shot. I'll take a look at it, see what it's looking like. I mean, probably not going to research it at all. Three heavy nuclei targets. At 20 kilometers, it is starting to go up more and more. And its range is increasing. It is under 60. It's under 60 seconds reload time, which is way too long for this. I mean, the only advantage it has is that it counts as 25% armor. That is the only advantage this thing has, and even then, it's not a big advantage because that is, as far as I can tell, at 20 kilometers range, that's 11 damage. Like, there's, in my opinion, better and faster firing uses that can deal out more damage with less slots that we have access to right now. It's like, this is a very hard sell. The only real sell for it is against that Exodus, yeah, repeat mission as well. It's only against like that insane 120,000 ton mothership that's like, that could have a use.
Public opinion is moving in our direction.
Even then, it needs more tech. It needs way more tech. What are you? 121. You're a frigate. Faithful Wonder class. What are you? Missiles and a laser cannon. Can bombard. Alright. Alien point defense laser turret. It's actually less than... No, I think it's more than our normal laser point defense turret. Same range, definitely faster reload. And lower life length, so better. Weighs more, though. So, interesting trade-offs there. Fuse and torch again. That's very efficient. Probably means it has very low usage of mass for... That's also very high engine power and also very good efficiency. So this is, they're starting to break up the good engines, the really good engines. And of course we can't quite match them just yet. Not quite. You get admin. And then you get economy and mineral and all that. And then nobody else can level. That's, I mean, not great, but fine. Gotta keep an eye on money situation. Alright, you're bombarding. I say, what is the defenses on that base? Obviously good enough if you're willing to try it. This is our major nobles, so we put 3k into here. Like, this is literally a mine and then defenses. So, good luck. I hope you have escape pods nearby, because I suspect you're going to explode very shortly. Very, very shortly. I would not be surprised if it's just explosion after bombardment begins. Destroyed a layer defense array, but was also destroyed. Alright, they did their job. Rebuild it. Check out the alien. No exotics or anything like that. Considering the fact that it had a better drive than normal, like very high efficiency, very high thrust drive, two of them. It would have been nice to get the exotics from it, but better to keep that base, considering that is our noble income. Is that base.
The people will come to our side.
Repeat mission. We're gonna have to get Orbital Hospital, though, just to use the boost instead of Nobles for money, because we are running low. Except we're gonna have to compromise the exact amount in order for defenses, because we don't have the fleet power to just defend. Declare war on Angola and Algeria, not Angola. Also, yes, it looks like if Russia doesn't leave, 10th Mountain, interesting name for a Russian army, is going to blow up or have to retreat. So good job, Philippines. You're actually resisting. Well done. You can still build some, but again, defense is done. And then mission control in that place. Alright. Lots of things just happened. Armadale Station is now complete. Armadale should hopefully be able to defend itself. Spending a trillion a year on welfare trying to bring down inequality. That is a fair amount. That's a very fair amount. I don't think I even have that much to give on that. I mean, 24% of 26 billion. It's so, yeah. But it does need to come down. Let's tone it down to 20%. Let other things build a little bit faster. Mine's extreme at the moment, yeah. Mine's only high here, inequality. But yeah, that's the first destroyer. And we've also completed Armadale. Armadale's now online. So that's 400 combat power, so it should not have to worry too much more about... I thought that was my phone suddenly going and calling somebody talking on my phone. It's like, what the hell is going on? I don't know, my phone's not ringing. But no, I shouldn't have to worry about the Victor fleet in orbit of Earth coming and jumping on this now. So I'm going to move 76 back to De Ruyter. Because De Ruyter is the stronger defenses. So that even if it does get destroyed, De Ruyter should hopefully blow up the fleet that's coming in to attack it. If it even decides to take battle. And that extra science will definitely help. However, we can't really build any new stations, which is what I'd love to do, because I need stations in interface orbit for orbital hospitals, because I badly need to get this out of negatives. So I need to turn around the fact that halves is costing me 70,000 a day. Not 70,000, 70 a day. And the best way to do that without dipping into our low nobles is orbital hospitals. Yeah, luckily, I mean, it is extreme in India, which is why India is... Then again, India also needs military tech up. It is well behind. It's actually falling, which is not good. The fact that it's falling is very bad. However, once this is done, because I think it's only got one province left, and it's got 2, 3. Let's turn it down to 17%. 20% welfare. Just to keep this coming down. 12% economy. To keep the economy growing. To keep GDP growing. 12% knowledge. Unity. Actually, let's tone down Unity to 5%. Because we do need to bring cohesion down a little bit. Unity is mainly there to help with the public opinion, which is okay. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. It is well good enough. And yeah, it looks like Tef Mountain may die unless they start leaving soon. You're very high, so you're doing better than India is, which is nice. You're high. So we're not terrible on inequality. We are high in inequality, though. But we need to do public opinion here soon. Alright, you're back into Reuter. Let's take a quick look at what the aliens are doing. They're transferring these two, so they're probably going to join together. Extreme Mars. Yerk, that's transports, that's fine. You're stuck, that's fine. You're transferring too low, and then you're rallying, so you'll probably go to battle. You guys are just sitting there. Rallying with 87. Where is 87? 87 is transferring to Helma orbit. Alright. That's fine. Don't worry about that. That's perfectly fine. You're rallying of 112, which is the guy who is going to Ceres, not to Mercury. These guys are hanging on Mercury. They are... I'm glad they're not attacking any of my stations. But the fact they're just hanging in Mercury is concerning me. This also Victor 17. I think I'm just pure lucky right now. The aliens don't realize exactly how much of a threat Victor 17 is to me right now. Every single one of these island dawns has plasma weaponry. And I don't have the armor on my current designs to deal with that. Not before they probably get a good chance of killing it. Okay, now they're transiting to Armadale on December. I have nothing in construction at Earth, and anything I put in construction now will not be done in time. And I don't have the Delta V to catch them after an all resolve. And they'll probably still have enough firepower that they won't take a battle against a lone dreadnought, even if they do use up most of their missiles. So I'm going to have to let Armadale be destroyed. Armadale will put up a fight, though. But the thing is, I need to start not throwing my ships blindly away, trying to defend stations. Actually, due to the situation with MC, you are actively useless right now. You're costing me MC for nothing I can use. Because I'm at MC cap. And there's no safe way for you to get to anywhere and actually assault anything. I'm going to scuttle you, get some exotics back, as well as nobles and a little bit of fissiles, as well as your water. Scuttle. That gives me enough MC, I believe, for a destroyer. Again, on Mercury, which I do need. I do need the destroyer on Mercury more than I need that ship, which I can't even use. Why are you doing 122 days? What happened? Why did you jump from 91 to 122? That makes 0 sense. Unless it was a bug or something like that. That could be it. That could very well be it. Oh yeah, you're going back out to meet up to your forward operating base. I really need to deal with this station here. The thing is, this is like the aliens' main repair base in orbit, and I cannot engage this. Not especially when it has a mothership hanging in orbit. Mothership Dreadnought and another little Corvette. I could not take this on even if I wanted to. Fusion reactor farm. But that's going to be, as soon as we get the power to, that's going to be like objective number 1 is knocking that out. Because that's just too close. Yeah, I'm surprised 95 is not doing anything. That's end of month. That's, yeah, because we're over CP cap a little bit. That's fine. Public opinion.
Telling our story.
Other than that, we should be fine. It's not great. We need to probably should start doing public opinion in Indonesia a little bit. That's crawling along slowly. But I also can't afford to stop doing everything else. And yep, Russia's leaving, which means the Philippines is still ours. That's always good. That's nice. Spaceflight program. Hopefully we get some mission control built in Indonesia before Malaysia finishes its army, which it's halfway to, but it's gonna be a while still. Which I mean it gives the Philippines a chance to actually do that. Survey location and Tech Mongol, who's here to do something. It looks like maybe one of the Humanity First ships went defected. How you guys doing for mission control? You're at... Okay. I'm surprised I'm not getting more defection offers. Servants are way over our mission control cap. They're getting stuff from the aliens, although they're using water as fast as they can get it. They also have 80 exotics, which is not great. The fact that they do have that in store. You're actually losing water, which is very good. You also have almost no control point cap. Same with the servants, actually. Humanity First is low control point cap as well, but they've done a very good job of helping to make sure the servants, as well as Exodus in the Academy, making sure the servants don't actually get any major control points in, which means they have very low science and no MC effectively to use. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the stuff that the servants are losing is going to Exodus. However, Exodus does have a problem. I mean, not as much far as the initiative have. Everybody but Humanity First is currently running a deficit for money. I mean, they're running a deficit for fissiles. The servers aren't. Protector is. Exodus is not. Exodus actually has most of the nobles. They have a very healthy noble income production. They don't have water or volatiles. Same thing with Academy. Academy is a very, very healthy noble income. They have tiny amounts of fissile, but they have very healthy noble. It's almost 200, which is very good. They managed to grab the good spots. And the servants are third best at 60. Then we rank about 4th. But also part of it is we're using some of that for what's it called? Nano factories. So really the only faction that's actually positive cash is Castillo. Has Castillo, who has 10 influence. He must be using it all the time, constantly. Trying to push around the servants and all that. He's the only faction right now running a positive money income. Everybody's running a deficit. Everybody is. I mean, it's a good sign that I'm not alone with my deficit. But it's also not something I want to really let grow too much larger. Thing is, I can't afford... I don't have the ships to defend Earth orbit yet. But I also can't afford to allow the enemies to do that. One place they haven't gone to yet. They've passed it by a lot. Venus. 23 boost. How long would it take to get there? 200 days. I'm going to risk setting up a orbital around Venus to try and replace the MC station. It's not going to be as efficient as around Mercury. But I do need it. We want 2-layer defense arrays. Yeah, we're not building any stations nowadays without defense. They have to be defended now these days. No ifs, ands, or buts. Build that, and then we'll build another solar. Actually, fusion is better at Mercury, at Venus rather. Fusion is a little bit more power. Another fusion. That should be that. Well, it would be nice if you could just tell build duplicate of station. That would be a very nice quality of life thing. Except for, you know, around Mercury would be solar all the way. But it's just barely edging up more power around Venus to use fusion versus versus solar. And honestly, I need all I can get for MC. Like that will, because it takes 3 to run that for the core. Like a 1, 2, 3. That's cost covered. It says 3 extra MC. That's 1 ship. If I could defend this, I wouldn't have to put these there, and I could swap them for op centers, which would be better. It'd be better amounts extra than covering its own cost, but I can't afford to. I also can't afford to go too much higher in order to try and build another station around Mercury, because otherwise I could end up with revolts on hand. I don't want that, not when stuff is still building. I mean, that's just repair, I think. Same thing with this base. This base is just repairing that layer defense. I think it's mainly just repairs. Still building a nano factory. That will help with money. That will help. It will hurt our nobles a little bit more, but it will also help our money situation. Same thing here. Hurt nobles a little bit, but help money. And we do need to start bringing money around. Actually, Farragut base, what are you producing? You're producing water volatiles. Too bad you can't downgrade to, whatchamacallit? Tier 1. What is this? Oh, it's saying about habitat being alright. Because that's the interface bonus icon. But I go, what are we getting interface bonus for now? What's going on? Luckily, nothing.
Offering counsel.
Chikara. But yeah, I need MC. And honestly, safest bet is ground MC. Which sucks because I want China to be growing its economy and
We've
dropping
got
its
some
unrest and
intel
getting
on our
science up.
target.
Initiative, works politician. We don't want to poke the initiative too much.
I have new information.
Let's continue on both of those. Check for that. Your product will be blown up, if I had to guess.
We're winning their hearts and minds.
Yeah, repeat. That's fine to repeat.
We've moved the needle.
Yes, repeat that mission. That needs to be done.
Public opinion is moving in our direction.
Yeah, repeat that. That's an unknown counselor. Unknown counselor, resistance counselor, yep. Detected. Exodus. Exodus. Or unknown counselor. Unknown counselor. Oh. New alien fleet docked at Blue Mountain. Astral Wind, so they're building. Yeah, it's up to 87, so they are building. Rallying with 87, so they're all rallying together too into fleets. They're no longer saying anything alone. Which is good and bad. Good because it means you don't have to worry about, them sending lone stuff in except for this transport. But bad because it means even if we do suddenly magically get the Delta V, we can't run something down and destroy it. We don't quite have the firepower, armor, and designs to do that. So I might have to let them blow up, as much as I don't want to. Might have to let them blow up stations and ships. Except for De Reuter. That's a fast way to the grave. Considering Ceres is like our most defended base out there, that is a fast way to the grave. Layered defense array has been destroyed. It's another one down. We are Actually, we rebuilt it already, so just rebuild. Because this series is a bit of a trump card, because this is a shipyard. Technically speaking, we could create a Navy at series. We're not in a position to do so. We don't have the ships. If any ships that build our series have to be able to fight in orbit by themselves against much stronger opponents, and we cannot guarantee that. Not yet. Like, they'll have to be true dreadnoughts. Just massive amounts of armor everywhere. It'll just tank hits forever. Compared to their relatively weaker opponents. And we cannot guarantee that survival yet. Orgs. And it's been destroyed in low series orbit, as predicted. Series is like one of our most defended areas out there. Alright. That's India deploying that last army it's ever going to have. Building. Put that elsewhere into the economy. Preferably boosting up the economy. Even though it is going to negatively impact that. It's a weird state if I don't actually want to boost the Indian economy too much. I just want to not fall. Because I mainly want welfare to bring down this extreme inequality. I mean, it is slowly moving down, but not by much. Not by much at all. Under control of resistance.
At your service.
You go assault.
Taking it to them.
Acknowledged.
You go investigate.
Investigating alien site.
That should do. That should do. How are you coming along? You're at almost 40 out of 60. You're nearly 2/3 the way there. You're almost halfway there on your space defenses, which would be nice to get done. Because then that's 19% going into everything else. The initiative is messing around here. Unity should help bring it back slowly, but not by a whole lot. But we'll bring it back. Somehow 21% is not enough military. It's going to rest at 2.1, which is fine. That's low enough. I think it's because GDP is not as high as it could be. And welfare is still high, even though it is falling. Thing is, increasing GDP will directly increase inequality. And I can't afford to tone down mission control. I need the mission control. Build that navy and then that has to die. That navy has to die. And I suspect Singapore will get the next laser defense. And then honestly, that is the core economic regions defended and the capital. At that point, just to make sure everything else doesn't explode, I'm gonna have to turn off space defenses. Luckily, most of my armored units are inside as a home base underneath a space defense complex, so I don't have to worry about being blown up. But yeah, once I can defend Singapore against nukes, I'm gonna have to turn off space defenses as well. And actually just gonna hope it goes to Singapore, not one of these resource regions. I've made some misplays, but it's salvageable still. Even if it wasn't salvageable, I still go down with the ship effectively, spinning into the end. Because as long as I can maintain series, I can still theoretically build ships out there. The aliens wouldn't be happy, and they'd have to be well-designed ships, which is no guarantee with me around. But I could still technically build ships at series, even if I
Lending my
lost
expertise.
Earth and Mercury and Mars construction facilities. So all is not completely lost. Actually, why am I getting Sarah Lakai to do this? Why am I getting to build space defenses? It's gonna get absorbed into Malaysia. It's not core economic region or anything. Turn that off. That's literally just wasting GDP. Malaysia's only getting it because I don't want to lose this 3 mission control to a nuke. That's literally the only reason Malaysia's building that space defense now. As well as the boost. Because the boost will be able to make money for me. Once I finish researching a tech. In fact, we're going to finish Exotic this month. And then we'll have to research orbital hospitals. Except we're going to have to build very inefficient orbital hospital stations. Or hold them until we actually, secure Earth orbit with enough ships to have a good shot at, defending those stations. Because right now we do have a task force incoming to Armadale. but I don't have the construction capability to defend Armadale. Yeah, this is all going to Armadale. We might be able to jump it as if they're to use, depending on the amount left, that combat score left, we might be able to jump this fleet. Because the alien light mags we can stop. That's a lot of point defense. That's advanced alien light mags. It would be a close run fight. Be a very close run thing. Considering there's also a lot of particle beam point defense. For one ship. I don't think we could. I don't think we could, which is a real shame. As much as I would love to, I don't think we have the ships, due to blunders in fleet maneuvers, to do that.
The people will come to our side.
Continue, repeat. I may have to like abandon Sarah or something like that just to get under a control point cap.
People will come to our side.
Temporarily.
Public sentiment is increasingly with us.
India needs to be defended. We do the next turn, that's fine. They won't be able to capture India anyway. At least I doubt they will. Wipe out, that's good.
Here's what we found.
Exotic armor is complete. Alright. That is going to cost 0.4 exotics per ton, which is not... but it is ultra light. We need to get orbital hospitals, regardless of anything else, because we need... the money. And this will help with life science research as well. '18th December. We're gonna get that 17th December too. And that's February still. Thing is, once that's done, all our defenses should upgrade. At least in space. Hopefully. That's my hope. What is Humanity First doing over here? And also Initiative. What are they doing? Probably going to boost public opinion because China is literally the best economy in the world right now. Except for maybe... no, Eurasian's falling. Because Exodus is going... Greetings, I come seeking answers to a small question. Alright, shoot. Don't know why they're doing that. I mean, they're only 5.1, so I guess they do need... they're thinking... how do I actually refit ships? Okay. But let's say... so your design needs to be refittable. So let's say... no, we don't want to design a ship. Let's go. Here, actually, ironically enough. Let's say we want to refit the Jutland class. It's battery change. Game says refit as go. Okay, in that case, it has to be docked at a station that has a shipyard. And then you go ship construction, refit dock ships. This will show you all ships that are docked. So, for example, we have a Jutland class Dreadnought here, the Gallipoli. Docked at De Ruyter. If there was a valid refit for the Jutlands into another class of ships, we could then from here go select valid refit class, and then we select the class we want to change, and then we add to queue. It doesn't take nearly as long to refit a ship as it does to construct it, but it does have to do that, but that is how you refit ships. It's this little button here beside construct. It basically swaps it over the tab that you're viewing at. Or like this Valley Fort Dreadnought. No problem at all. Welcome aboard. I may not know everything about the game, but I did figure that much out. But I say, don't copy my ship design. So far, they've all exploded in one form or another. They've all exploded, all of them. Part of it's because I get a little bit ambitious, others because it's just bad. So, 6 of one, half dozen the other. I will freely admit I am not a ship designer. Go look at Pre-Rune if you want a ship designer. Pre-Rune has made fairly good ships, in my opinion. Far better than I have. He's also not poked at the aliens as much as I have, constantly. He only pokes at them when he's ready. I just poke at them trying to destroy a ship, and then get into a situation where I have to keep poking in order to protect stuff. Unrest is high. I mean, it's not fine.
What's the op?
But it's not the end of the world. You can't actually exalt that. I think it's time we take out some protectorates. That is 6. But to go, how do they have that many? Yeah, ship design is a pain in the bollock, especially when you have 50 different drives and 50 number poo. Yeah. Yeah. You are fun to live. You're not my spy. You're also okay to live. You're not super high specs. That's my spy, so he lives. In Surmain. Where the hell is Surmain? You need to know. You're sort of devoted. Abductions and build facility. I don't think you can actually build facilities. I'll let my weaker assassin go after you. Are you in Russia? No. Chameleon Solutions. Where is the one counselor I need to kill who had... You're here. You're in a Pension Combine. You need to go. You're 25 admin, you're 20 security, you're 18 science, you're 13 command. You also have Shield of the Devoted, which is giving you a lot of that. But it allows you to purge, control nation, and all that. And it gives unity and xenology bonus. Actually, very strong. That's still 64 ops gives you 89%. I like those odds. Those are good enough odds.
Where to?
And then you go and kill the guy who can build bases over here. Or lady who can build bases. There we go. Blow her out. Yeah, we take her down. But not downtown. I forgot to defend India. Luckily, nobody's going after India right now. Hopefully.
Offering assistance.
That was a mistake. I can do that next turn. Nanofactory, which will help a little bit, but will hurt our nobles. Smuggling ring. Let's try it again. Smuggling ring uncovered. There we go. Job well done. But yeah, I would definitely... After the jars I've gotten, I would say pulsars, if you had to go early, are probably the best mix of propulsion and Delta V. Don't fall in the Dumbo trap. I fall in the Dumbo trap because it's like, ooh, super high. And, you know, that looks like a relatively high enough exhaust velocity. It's not a high enough exhaust velocity. Not by a long shot.
Problem solved permanently.
There we go. Critical success.
Target eliminated.
Excellent. That's a less chance, but you pulled it off. Well, good. That's their best counselor is gone into servants. In fact, I think both of them are original counselors for servants. So that's gonna piss off the aliens. but it's also important to get rid of them. I mean, discovery takes exactly as much time to replace the battery as building a new ship. That shouldn't. That's interesting. Considering replacing the lasers... Hold on. I'm gonna make a quick... Let's look... That is... Oh, no, I don't want to... I want to design ship class... Or ship classes. Because I have a Jetlin that I can use as a guinea pig. That shouldn't be that big of a difference. Let's just go to salt water. Just for the sake of the experiment. We won't actually... We'll use a... It's going to be an obsolete design. But I want to see why it's doing that. It's because I don't think it should do that. Retrofits, Jetlin, TVNet Golf. If we're to add the queue... Yeah, it's 8 days. And that's just a battery swap. That is very odd. Maybe it's something to do with the tier of the shipyard. Because I know I'm using a shipyard, which is the tier 2 shipbuilding facility. And I have all the resources. That could be it too. Because I know if you don't have the resources and you have to pay for them, it can delay construction. That might be it? But honestly, I have no idea. It makes 0 sense to me. Yeah, we're going to cancel that. We don't want to actually refit into that. That is a worse ship design. But yeah, Divina Gulfs can go. Are you also refitting other components at the same time? It could also be the weight of the battery. Depending on the battery you have, considering I've been sticking with very light batteries. Heavier batteries might take longer to replace. I don't know. And unfortunately I don't have time today to find out. Saltwater to quantum. That's what I use, isn't it? I use quantum batteries. No, I don't use quantum. I use... superconducting. Which are very light. Although quantum batteries are also very light, aren't they? I have to go in here because I haven't actually unlocked them. I'll just look at this one. I'm actually not actually gonna change. Quantum batteries. Yeah, quantum batteries. Oh, they're 80 tons. That could be it, because you're going from a relatively light battery to a much heavier battery. Battery farms. That actually might be nice, but that could be it. It could be because you're adding weight. That might be why. Because saltwater are 20 for 20. Versus 80 for 80. That could be the reason. That could be the reason. But I have no idea. I don't have any... I mean, I do have heavier battery, but it's not that much of a heavy difference in weight. It could also be, because I think I do have a... I'm going to have to end very shortly, because I have to go and do something. But I will check to see if I have one of the techs that gives you faster construction build speed for ships. I might. That could be a factor. Military. Okay, alien robotics gives a 5% bonus to ship speed. Construction. That could be part of it. No, that just gives that. Wormholes, this choke point. Science, no. Exotic materials, stockpile exotics. Not computing. I'm just checking if there's anything I've gotten. Alien computers, no. That doesn't. I mean, it does. Mission control priority is up, which is very nice in that one. Reception. AI technology. No. I'm just checking to see if there's any other text, because I only have one, I think. Fusion pile of rapid response teams, hydro language, executive protection, fleet combatants, Cobra. Missiles and torpedoes. There are very different types of missiles. Like, torpedoes do the most damage, but they're the slowest accelerating and their slowest speed. So they're the point defense has a better chance of stopping them. And then there's two different types of missiles. There's faster missiles with less damage and also do piercing damage. Slow acceleration equals either for basically. Slow acceleration, they're faster for point defense. They're easier for point defense to stop. And then there's fast acceleration missiles with different warheads, which can do different things. Some of them can target as defense, same as Rattler are very quick. But again, it is a case of it's almost like a trade-off between it's some type of trade-off you're playing with the with something like a railgun, except also kind of not, because it also I'm not a massive expert on missiles. I do know that torpedoes are slower than missiles, but they do a lot more damage. But they're also easier for point defense to stop. And then there is kind of like a sub variation between I think some of them are faster acceleration but have less total acceleration. What as good as higher damage missiles would never hit. Yeah, exactly. Overwhelming point defense, lower damage works better. Yeah, exactly. And that's what the aliens do too. Actually, the aliens mix. The aliens mix in higher damage weapons with their swarm weapons. So they go for a mix deployment. But again, it all depends what you're trying to do. Like if you're trying to achieve a shoot down, I don't think you need to worry about torpedoes too much, like first shoot down. But then it's just like, because I know generally it's just like the I didn't actually research them, but the copperheads are perfectly fine to shoot down. At least in a couple of ships, are perfectly fine to shoot down at your first destroyer. But it really does depend what you're trying to do. And missiles do have an intrinsic downside of much tighter ammunition loads. Because lasers and phasers and plasma and particle, although I really don't recommend going down particle, they cost more power per shot, I believe, except for maybe some of the railguns. But they also don't have ammunitions. Missiles have the lowest ammunition by far. Like it's generally whatever the launcher has is like 16 or 18 or 8 missiles, depending on the exact launcher. Whereas railguns have like 500, couple thousand, depending on exactly which railgun you put where. But then lasers and phasers and all that, they don't have ammunition, but they generally have less damage, and also better stopped by armor at longer range. So this whole game is a massive game of, for shipbuilding, is like, you can't have everything. You need to find the right balance for what you're trying to do. And honestly, the only one I've actually seen on that with is the destroyers. They're, for the goal of shooting down lighter ships, they have just enough armor and just enough point defense that, in a group, they don't die. And provided we can catch a mothership by itself with no munitions, they can actually, over time, provided it doesn't run away, hound it to death. Because they can just barely get through mothership point defense. But they have to basically be pressing their guns against the mothership to do it, so it kind of requires the mothership having no munitions, otherwise they will just explode well before they get in the range. Small lasers on the nose and big coil guns on the hull. Yeah, that's what I'm still struggling with. I actually kind of have the inverse going on. I have small lasers on the hull, but rail cannons on the nose for my dreadnoughts. But then again, I've only just gotten into arc lasers, so they are not super great. If a laser escorts enemy projectiles can't approach. Yeah, I've almost gone. I've actually got 2 dreadnought designs. They both have point defense. In terms of, well, now it's going to be arc laser point defense, as well as 2 guaranteed arc laser batteries. That way they have something that is not stoppable by alien point defense. That way they can always contribute a little bit, if nothing else, as point defense of their whole fleet. And then they both have, both dreadnoughts have on the nose, a rail cannon Mark III and then a light rail cannon, just to help saturate point defense. And then depending on which of the 2 it is, one of them has a heavy railgun Mark III, the 4-slot hull railgun, and the other one has, instead of that, it has 4 more light laser batteries, just to help with just fleet point defense. So I've kind of almost built laser escorts in with in the same hull. It just swaps out the weapons. Do you use ammo? The game doesn't model. Energy isn't free. Fuel costs generate wear and tear. Round coil guns slowly destroy themselves each use, but have much higher velocity. While coil guns have much lower velocity, don't tear themselves apart each use. Yeah. The ammo is not counted. It's just, using the energy from the reactor type deal. So, it is completely fair that, yeah, they do have ammo. It's just, the ammo is just the energy from the reactor. But yeah, if you found a balance that works for dreadnoughts, then already, other than the refit, consume chemicals to fire. Yeah, that is... Maybe that's why the UV lasers cost exotics, is because they're using the exotics to fire the UV lasers and all that at higher power. That could be it. Oh, it's UV arcs. I was about to say chemical lasers would be actually a very interesting laser weapon. But I say I've run massively over time. Like, I should have actually gone 10 minutes ago. Solid state are much weaker by comparison. Yeah. So, as much as I would actually love to continue discussing this, I do have to go. It is unfortunate. I would love nothing more to continue discussing this, but I have things to do. Everything is a trade-off. I just wish particle beams weren't nearly as bad as a trade-off. Like, It depends how tired I am, because I'm still knackered from the actual structure of my sleep schedule, flipping 180 degrees. I might stream tomorrow. I might take tomorrow off, because the things I gotta do, I'm gonna be up far later than I should really like to be. But thank you all for coming out. I hope you have a good rest of your day, evening, night, whatever it is, wherever you are in the world. And I hope to see you all next time. Have a good one, everybody. Mind the alien spinal mannequins. They hurt.